I wanted to work in events because I think that festivals and just like communal events like this or like my colleagues here having their own cities are a great place to get like-minded people together. It goes beyond politics or religion. It's about if we're all here together, it's because we have something in common.
Welcome to today's session on discussing the global festival landscape. We've got some amazing, amazing people with us today to share their stories, their journeys, talk to you a little bit about how they navigate their own personal territories with regards to events. So I'm going to open up by introducing myself. My name is Jenny. I'm actually part of the XP programming team, so it's an absolute pleasure to be here today hosting this session. I have been working in the live events business for, I don't want to say how long, because it makes me show how old I am, for over 25 years now. I started when I was 17 years old, organising events and festivals, selling club tickets on the party island of Ibiza, and that led me to my journey where I am now, where I have my own mental health and wellbeing business back in London, and I'm still very lucky to work in the amazing music business. But enough about me right now. I would love to open up by introducing you to our amazing panelists today. We have got Karim, Nizar, and Andrea, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about them because they can sell themselves better than I can, so I'm going to let each of them tell you a little bit about their background, their stories, and why they're with us today. Start.
Sure. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Excited for the session. Thank you, XP, for having us.
You're very welcome.
So, to introduce Soundscapes, we started off as a family. It was my brother, my cousin, some of our best friends, and we were all in love with music. And so we put on some decks at family farm. We had about 10 people show up. The next event had about 50. The one after that had 100. The one after that had 1,000. And it really started off as a platform to share music and to enable artists from the region to participate and for the audience to receive content that we thought was unique. And over the years, we've had ups and downs, many incidents. We went to jail in some incidents.
Seriously? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What happened?
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just say also as well, we want this to be super interactive, so please don't sit there in silence and wait until the end to put your hand up. Please, dip in, ask our panelists questions. Let's make it a really, really nice group discussion and have some fun.
So jail.
What a great starting
Tell
point.
us about that.
We've got a bad boy here.
So Soundscape started in 2013, 2014. So XP, Soundstorm, a lot of what's been happening in the region is quite new, right? Like it's been 4 or 5 years that from top down, there was initiatives to open up. But when we were starting, it was completely underground. And it just so happened that as more people started coming, the cops started to notice people parking their cars, people getting into this space. So the cops came in, they looked around, they didn't understand. And the first thing to do was to jail the organizers because they didn't understand what we were doing. So again, ups and downs, but luckily we had tremendous support from the region, from our followers, and we continued and moved to Zanzibar. And we've done Soundscapes in Zanzibar now for 3 editions. So it's also beautiful to see concepts from the region growing internationally. And but it really couldn't have happened without XP and everything else happening in the region. It's sort of a forced momentum.
I mean, obviously you originated from the MENA region. What kind of main cultural differences do you see now between here and Zanzibar in terms of being like an event organizer in 2 different sort of locations? Because I think we really want to talk about that today, the different cultural kind of attributes to different areas. What's the kind of key points of difference for you?
So we have most of the attendees come from the region, but what's beautiful to witness is that there's actually a strong common thread between the regional partygoers and the festival goers and the international community. They all get along, they're all backstage together, on the dance floor together. Clearly there are cultural differences, but music unites us, and I would say there's not much difference really between regional festival goers and the international community. There's a clear synergy that's coming together.
Amazing. Andrea, you are the bad woman that runs Sonar in Barcelona, and I'm sure most of you have either been to Barcelona to attend Sonar or heard of it. This is the woman who runs it. She's an absolute legend, and I know has an incredible story. You've been with Sonar now for 9 years, you said, and I think we'd love to hear about how you got into that, how you got to achieve the success you have today as a woman in the industry as well.
Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Andrea. I'm originally from Uruguay, from Latin America, and I've been in Barcelona for 10 years and in Sonar for 9 years. So I studied cultural management, and I've worked in Uruguay, but also I had a brief stop in Manchester, working in Live Nation, and I worked in conferences like TEDx, both in Uruguay and in Spain. And then when I was studying, I did my internship in Sonar by actually just approaching the CEO after a conference he was on. He just finished the conference and was alone.
You just went up and you were like, hey dude, me, yeah.
Exactly. Of course, previously, I had sent my curriculum to all the festivals in Spain. I didn't get any answer. Now I understand why, because it's flooded. Yeah. So I approached him, I was like, hey, I'm Andrea, I do this, I study this. Like, are you looking for interns in Sonar? It's like, yeah, perfect. We're just opening for it. So he shared his email, I sent my CV, I had my interview, and the rest is history. I've been there for 9 years. It's a great place to work. That's what I wanted to do, you know. I wanted to work in events because I think that festivals and just like communal events like this, or like my colleagues here having their own cities, are a great place to get like-minded people together. It goes beyond politics or religion. It's about, if we are all here together, it's because we have something in common, you know? And that's what I really like about going to festivals, you know, like, of course, the music, but the best is, you know, like, you get to meet incredible people from all the corners of the world. And yeah, it's great. It's my dream job. I'm very lucky to say that. And yes, I think in Spain, where Barcelona, it's a place that, Europe, you know, mostly, we have a long story of festivals, you know, going to festivals or having any kinds of festivals are part of the culture, you know, they're like the main part of society. Sonar has been going on for 30 years, actually. This year we turned 30, but we just feel as fresh as 15 maybe, or maybe 25. I think it's a cooler age. And and so I think it's great that there are initiatives like XP, Music Futures, or Soundscape, you know, or your festivals and your events going on in different parts of the world, getting to know them. And it just gives me hope, you know, of the future, that there are so many diverse events that will bring us all together, whatever the genre, whatever the topic. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here in this conversation.
We're so happy to have you here, and it's amazing that Sonar's been going for 30 years now. I didn't realize it was that
30.
Long. 30 years, wow.
I'm 33, so
God, I'm a lot older than you. I'm not going to tell you how old. But it shows you, doesn't it? It's like, and we touched on this earlier, and I think we'll talk about it again. It's like how you remain relevant, how you can evolve and diversify, but still remaining within that core DNA of what started 30 years ago, and how you can keep that community and your loyal fan base with you, but, you know, absorb the new younger generation along the way, but still retaining that authenticity at all times, which, you know, all of you guys do. So, Karen, I mean, you're one of the big wigs in India. You've got an incredible festival over there, and we'd love to hear more about you, how you got into it, and everything we touched on earlier. You've got some incredible stories to share.
Hello, everyone. I started when I was 16 from, you know, like doing entries in clubs and earning like $5 per couple. And then that's how my journey started, and I was like, you know what, this is like a very cool space, be it hospitality or entertainment industry is, like on the rise. And I worked with a lot of companies. I worked for a company for 10 months, didn't get paid, and I was like, damn, I was bankrupt. Like, I mean, I didn't have savings. Suppose that me and my partner were like, why, do it for someone else when you can do it for yourself? And we started a company with an investment of $500. Today we are valued at $5 million. And
Well
that's
done.
how
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's how our journey started. Forbes India also kind of picked that article up, and today we just don't do music events. We also do events, like, I mean, I have a festival for pets, which is something like, is kind of picked up in India.
Did you say a festival for pets?
Pets, yes.
Talk to me about this. A festival for pets. Has anyone ever heard of a festival for pets?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, so I mean, I've got 2 cats. Seriously, you're a DJ for pets?
A DJ
Gullible.
for pets.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this, please? I did not know this.
So, what we kind of realize is, of course, music is one thing, but, there are so many experiences that people actually want to go out and, experience, right? And there are so many pet parents that are there. There are so many brands that are kind of promoting, and selling stuff for pets.
Who would have thought?
And we kind of just made like a festival for them, got all the brands together, and we hit like, every edition we see like 10,000 people with their pets coming in. And
10,000 people?
Yeah.
Right, talk to
You
us
have
about
to patent that
talk to us
idea
about
right
Are
now.
we talking like
because
obviously cats, dogs?
Yeah, I mean,
What's
it's
the
a
kind of
pet
diversity
festival.
of the
I
pets
mean,
here?
there are
We'll move away from
experience-
this in a minute, sorry.
There's experience for pets. Like, I mean, there are game zones, there are like different pet brands that are there, and the pet parents want to buy stuff for them. So, I mean, it's an experience, and people wait for it to spend that Sunday with their pet, and, like pet parents come there. So, yeah. And for them, we have different brands also, right? Like, I mean, it's just like how, like we've just thought like how can all these brands come together and it can become a carnival of its own. And of course, music festival was also something that we curate. Last year, we did Steppin' Out Music Festival, which had close to 80 artists. Saw around 25,000 people over 2 days. Again, like a festival, not just with one music genre, but we had like a Bollywood stage, which is like a big, like massive artists coming, performing. We had a techno stage, we had an EDM stage, so we had something for everyone at that festival. So, like that's how like we kind of realized is like there's fan base for everything. And
It's a community, isn't it?
yeah, it's a community.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, overall, we also are franchising a lot of brands and getting them down to India, like brands from Europe, like, I mean, yeah, and that's again a different experience for why an Indian should travel when that brand can come down to India. And that's how we started franchising a lot of brands and getting them down to India.
It's about quality control, isn't it? And if you're going to have ownership of your marketplace, you want to make sure that if anyone's going to organize events, that it's within your kind of control, so you can make sure that the same level of quality that you have at your own festivals is instilled in all the other kind of club nights and parties happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually feel like overall, experiences is something what a person is looking at. Like, I mean, if you're kind of going in for a festival, what is that different? That is what's different that's there. Of course, there's a music stage, and when we franchise these brands, they come up with their visual artists. Like, there's like a proper set show that is there, and that is kind of attracting a lot of people to buy tickets for them, for it. So that's when, like, I feel like India is such a huge market. 5 years back, we could do events in 4 to 5 cities, and right now Martin Garrix with Sunburn did a 8-city tour. And every market saw like 15,000 people. So just there are so many markets that have opened up in India, and I mean it's called tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. A tier 2 or tier 3 is not seen those kind of experiences yet. So it's also taking these brands and educating the audience over there.
Love it. Love it. Nazar, what strategies have you employed to maintain the grassroots essence of Soundscapes, like while scaling it up?
So, Grassroots, I think we actually in our mission statement, in our vision statement, we do mention the term grassroots, because as I said earlier, we had began the festival as artists for our community, and I think that in order to maintain that, you want to stay as far away from sponsorships, actually. So it may kind of go against some other festivals, but we try to keep it as raw as possible, just not to overshadow our vision and what we're trying to do and have influence from other shareholders that may have other intentions. And so to do that, I think you want to keep it as sponsor-free as possible, and it creates a very natural setting, I think, like our vision comes to life without any intervention from anybody else. And I think also being open to expanding your community. We have a lot of people from Saudi, for example, reach out to us, want to get involved, and if you keep an open door policy, no barrier to entry, I think that's really how you build an expanded community, and that's really how it's continued to grow. About 70% of the lineup for our festival is from the region. We have artists from Saudi, from the UAE, from Egypt. All the set designers, lighting designers are all from the region too. So I think, yeah, just no sponsorship, there's really no budget, so really the people who want to get involved really care. And I think that's how you entice a grassroots movement.
Yeah, I love that, and I think it kind of takes us nicely onto that point about the finances behind live events, because, I mean, to the kind of untrained eye, we just all rock up for work and suddenly this event happens and people don't really understand the huge cost implications behind it. And I think there's twofold, isn't it? It's your point about, clubbers and, music lovers are very sensitive to brand overkill. So I think increasingly with the kind of installation of boutique festivals as opposed to these massive big, like in Scotland we had Tea in the Park and, these huge wireless, these massive brand festivals. It's lovely to retain that kind of brand identity, but then how do we go about funding these events? So, and I know that, a lot of the festivals I work on are very heavily reliant on local governments and municipal funding to support them, to enable them to happen. There's always an element of sponsorship, of course, your drinks, your bars, things like that, but opposed to having to take, £1 million deals to brand your main stage, it's about that authenticity and retaining that DNA. So, particularly now since the financial crisis, as we know, everything, the whole supply chain, the costs have gone through the roof everywhere. I'd really love you guys to share, I guess, your insights into, not obviously digging in too deep into the finances, but, what kind of local support you get, how you work with sponsorship, what the implications of, I guess, COVID and since with the financial crisis that we are in globally, what's the impact been in your individual business and how are you, I guess, mitigating that without it affecting your consumers?
Yeah, there is a point, we were just talking about this before. I think it's very important to have in mind where your festival is happening, because it's not only about the continent, each region has its own dynamics. Like Barcelona has some dynamics that Madrid does not have, and we're in the same country. So how do you, it comes related to the topic about like romanticizing working in live events and in music festivals. It's very hard work, and one of the key points is how your festival is financed. And Sonar, what I really like and respect about Sonar is that we're still very true to our core since we began. So, and Sonar, it's Barcelona, and it's very rooted in the city. The people from Barcelona really feel that, they own the festival, and we really like that, and it's a very communal and very local experience, actually, too. Beyond the size of the festival, we have 120,000 people, but 70% of those 120 are from Spain, and of those 70% of Spain, there are 60% that are from Barcelona and the metropolitan area. So when you go to Sonar, you really feel that you are in Barcelona. That's what we want to get. And so this goes related with financing, because I agree totally what you were saying, Asar. You know, like the brands, when they want to sponsor a festival, what they're looking for is to get to your audience, to get visibility, and to get related to your brand, because getting related to your brand will give them a kind of prestige that it's already vetted by your audience. So it's a very very valid way of financing. In Spain, for example, there's not a lot of public support for these kind of festivals, even if it's small, you know. We do receive a lot of support through Sonar Plus D, that it's a program that we call it internally the not musical program of Sonar. So everything that's not music and it's innovative, it has, like workshops, conferences, master classes, exhibition area, networking sessions, a bit like XP. So we get the support through that because it encourages the development, of the industry. But the music festival does not get a lot of public funding. We do have sponsors, but the main source of income for Sonar is ticket sales. These allow us to rely on our audience mainly. So we need to give explanations. We don't have to give explanations, but we are for our audience. So if our audience keep coming, we will do on them. We rely on them because they're the main funders, let's say, of the festival. And then the way we have to work with the private sponsors, it's very peculiar because we have a policy that goes like, we're not going to put a logo if a logo is not needed, because we don't want to contaminate visually the experience of the festival goer. We know a lot, I'm sure everybody has been to festivals where you just put a feet on the festival and just just like a festival of logos in your face. So we don't do that. We design with the sponsors, the activations they have. Everything the sponsors do has to be approved by our artistic team. Because if not, if you just put whatever you want, it will not get to the point, and nobody's going to be happy about it. Not the audience, not the sponsor. We're going to hate it. Everybody's going to hate it. It's going to be a mess, and it's going to be more work, actually. So we are very lucky that we work with sponsors and also the public institutions that support us, that they understand. But because it comes with doing business with us, in a way.
It's building that reputation, isn't it, and having those relationships in place. And I think it's down to the curation as well. And as you say, there are the right places for brand partnerships and for sponsorships, but I think it's all in the curation and also working with your talent on it as well, because a lot of talent don't like big brands above their heads. Yeah. How about you? How's it go with you guys in India? I know previously I've worked in India and it was very kind of heavily sponsorship-led. Is it still that way now?
I think it's still there. Support from government is as good as, nothing, to be honest. Maybe we go with a pitch to them, they might just help us with a venue, nothing apart from that. To do a festival in India, it's, we need to take close to 10 to 15 licenses with different departments. It's not a single window license yet. Of course, everyone in the event community is kind of working on it right now, that, we go to one person and we get the entire event license, but it's still not there. Sponsorship is very, very crucial. Your P&L can only become positive if your revenue of your entire festival is 60-65% is covered by sponsors. So, and as you said, in India, we have a flyer with 10 brands and our festival is somewhere there. But the sad truth is that's where it is. But the good part is that the brands don't want to just put their logo. They are coming up with a lot of engagement activities on ground. We work very closely with Heineken, and we do all their branding for them pan India. So they are you know, like of course there's like something that's there, but you know, how can we do like a zone which is engaging? And that's really cool, you know, so having brands also is a plus point because they really make your venue look great.
The thing is, I think now, you know, gone are the days of, like we said, you know, the logo brand stamp. Brands have got whole creative teams to make really fun, inspirational activations on sites. And, you know, I've worked with brands before where they've built tree houses on sites and then they pull products out of it. And I think, you know, there's so much thought behind how brands activate on sites now. And I think that's, you know, you guys as crazy creatives and amazing entrepreneurs, you know, it's for us to work with those brands to make sure that there's a point of difference and that, you know, the delivery of the brand on site is fun and not in people's faces.
Yeah, and it comes related to what you were saying before about the experience, you know, like we have to always have in mind that when somebody comes to buy the ticket and then comes to the festival, it's their holiday, it's their free time. This is very important for us to have in mind. So we have also, this is something that we work with, that we have in mind, you know, it's the people's free time, it's their money, they're investing in this, so what can we make to give them as many experiences, as many stimuli as we can in 3 days, but without being like overstimulated or like having some things that doesn't make sense. And this is where we also rely a lot on Sonar Plus D. You know, like you go to Sonar and you have 5 stages of music during the day edition, and then you have like a lot of other options, from installations to, you know, discursive program. You can meet people, you can go to conferences. So this way, you put the trust in your audience and you tell them like, okay, this is what we have planned for you, so, but then you are free to decide what you want to do. So we want to give you a lot of options, because for me, the worst thing ever that could happen is when you go to a festival and then you have this idle moment that you don't know what to do, where to go, what's happening, and then you start feeling like a bit demotivated and you start getting bored. Oh, that's the worst for me.
I think the user experience, the consumer journey on site is so important. And I think, you know, we touched on it earlier, you know, particularly the younger generation, they're very vulnerable when they come on site, and they're relying on us as the experts to show them the way and to offer them this incredible experience. And people have less money than ever now, so they're hand-picking what they do. And, you know, your festival, Sonar, your festival, it might be the only thing they can go to all year. They might have saved up for it, and it's like, that's their big journey. You want to make sure that it's, you know, it's a life-changing experience for them. And I think we wanted to just, you know, touch on the kind of like, in terms of the on-site duty of care for those consumers, well-being is such a big factor now in terms of the offering for the consumer. You know, in the UK, all of the festivals have yoga and breath work, and there's loads of stuff. I'd love to understand how you guys are addressing the well-being side of it and that duty of care element, particularly for the younger, you know, consumers within your sort of events. Nazar, you do quite a lot in the well-being space, don't you?
Yeah, we do. I think just to also touch on the sponsorship element, I think it goes beyond that for us. With some festivals now, you can book a table, you can book a section. We want to create almost a sacred space where there's nothing that connects people to the outside reality that they're facing day in, day out. And if this can become a haven, a safe haven for them to become vulnerable, to go deep, to try to solve traumas, to leave the festival another person, I think that's the real impact we have on people. And we've met couples that got married later, or people who've had kids out of the festival.
Love that so much.
But on the topic of wellness, I think people come to festivals, and we have to be honest, they also consume, you know,
Coca-Cola, yeah?
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Period. So they do
A nice fizzy water.
All right, fizzy, sparkling with a dash of lemon. And so sometimes it gets a bit too intense for them. The main stage, maybe, you know, high energy, and so you need to provide an alternative. And so for us, we piloted a second stage. The past edition, we called it the alternative stage. So it's almost like an escape. If things get too much, you have a safe space. We've also invested in a temple called the Shala, and this is a yoga and wellness space, and it's open throughout the festival. At night, during the main stage, or while everything's activated, you can go get a massage, you can take a nap, and if you go there at night, you'll see people just cuddled, some of them crying, some of them, and so it's just the yin to the yang, right? You want to, if they're high energy, they may be happy, but some people are also going through very different experiences, and it's your responsibility as an organizer to provide that alternative space. You're responsible ultimately, right?
They're in your care, and it's your responsibility to create that safe space for them while they're under your roof for that period of time. I think that's amazing. How about you guys?
So, of course, like as you said, like music plays a very important role. Like, of course, everything can't be like, like high energy. So there's a stage which kind of has, like music which relates to, which will calm you down. Of course, we have, like a small clinic kind of thing on spot if something happens to someone. So that's taken care. But from a music and wellness point of view, we also have a festival called Om Festival, where we did like a collaboration with Anjuna Beats, because we really thought like that sound and what we want to offer makes sense. And like it's like a it's like a 2 nights, 3 days kind of a festival where you're going in the outskirts in a resort where there's an artist playing. There are so of course, like every weekend there's a festival, but there are some people who even choose to do this. So wellness is very important for us during the big festivals, but also we have something which we know there's an audience for, is what we do.
We've got responsibilities to the next generation, and I think we've touched on it a lot today. That when we were all growing up in Clubland, it was a badge of honour to stay up all night for 4 days on the trot and be the last one standing and burning the candle at both ends, and you were a hero if you could do that. But now, we are teaching the younger generation that that's not the way forward, and I think the younger people are so much more aware of their well-being, and they don't want to do that. And I think social media has played a huge part in that as well now, because everything is captured on camera. So artists, club goers, they don't want to be getting necessarily messed up, and then their mates are pushing it on camera.
I wish we could ban phone.
Imagine we could roll back the clock 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that goes like in the sense of well-being. We don't do any well-being, because for us, well-being is on the dance floor with your community. But again, this applies to Sonar 100%, because it's a very experiential event. Even if there's thousands of people, you feel like you're part of a community, you're taken care of. It's the first time in my life that I saw a girl just like wasted drunk in the floor, and I was like, oh my God. And then like when I paid attention, it's like there was these people, they didn't know her, and they were just like taking care,
looking after her.
Everybody just around her and just like letting her be wasted, because why not? Why can men do it and we cannot, And so for us, we don't have any yoga classes or specifically well-being activities, because again, the well-being for us is being in Sonar as a whole. We do have all the team. We do get a lot of trainings during the year. We do a lot of courses. We talk a lot with NGOs about being like a safe space, but without being in your face. I think, I don't know in other parts, but in Spain, when you can see that somebody's trying too hard, and it's like, this is a safe space, and they put it, and then it's just like 2 chairs and a carpet, and
yeah, I mean, if you do it really badly, it's just a massive faux pas.
Exactly, and then you don't really feel the vibe of that being like a safe space, for everybody. So yeah, what we do is we train ourselves, and we are aware when the festival is happening. The core team and also like all the rest of the team working on site. We have like we have like a visual ID. So if somebody is not comfortable or is having a bad time for whatever reason, they can come to us. And I can proudly say that nobody has ever call our attention
That's
in
such
the last
a testament,
5
though,
years.
to what you're
Yeah.
actually doing.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. We're going to have to wrap it up now, but I just want to kind of close the session with a kind of a closing question to you all. So I want to just ask each of you this. What is the dream or aspiration you have for the future of music festivals that you believe can revolutionize the industry? Just one thing, each of you. What would be your ultimate dream? Karen.
I have it on the tip of my tongue.
Come on.
Just like the end of the headliner dictatorship. Like, stop it. It's music. People love it. There's great artists all around. Just give the opportunity to more artists. Thank you.
I love that, and it's such a nice carry on from the point we just discussed there. How about you?
I think there should be a window for all the local talents. I mean, there's so much talent there, but again, it always boils down to the headliner, which is what something will change, and it will change in like 2 years max.
So it's a common thread with all of us.
I think it's to believe local, invest in local.
Yeah.
We're also a regional festival. We've had many people from the region say, nah, I don't want to do it. It's probably too regional. I don't support it. I prefer to go to a global festival, an international festival. So I think if you believe local, you have an opportunity to build global if you invest local.
I absolutely love that, and I love that our key takeaway from this session today is invest in local talent, support and nurture the next generation of your local people, and I think that's great. I think that's a really gorgeous point for us to end on. So I just want to say thank you so much, Karim, Andrea,
Thank
and
you.
Azar. It's
Thank
been
you.
wonderful. I feel that we should have talked all day, and thank you to you guys for coming and enjoying our session.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.